Welcome everybody to another episode of Recruitment Ops in the Ops Seat. Today I'm coming to you from Stratford upon Avon.
Yeah.
We're at the TRM retreat. Daragh, you've travelled over?
Yes, all the way from Galway, Ireland.
Nice. So for those watching or listening, we are day 2 of a conference. If anyone's ever been to a conference, you might know that there's some drinking that happens on one of the evenings.
One or two.
One or two. So I vaguely remember saying goodnight to you last night after a few pints of Guinness. I'm so glad that we managed to get this done because we're in the same place. For those that don't know who you are, can you give us an intro into you, your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Daragh Jordan. I'm the founder of Magnate. With Magnate, we're focused just on recruitment scheduling. So we built an AI scheduling bot that handles all the back and forth. So the coordination, the rescheduling, all of that answers in a minute. And the whole idea is that when we looked at the market, we saw nothing has really worked specifically for recruiters. So the idea I had was like, what if everyone could have an assistant and could do all their coordination, all their messaging, and we want to expand over time. So yeah, that's what we're currently doing, and that's the dream.
Nice. Niche.
Yeah, very niche.
Niche.
Yeah.
I remember getting the intro from Tyrene, obviously, because TRN do make a big deal about trying to make sure that me as the community lead for ops know all the partners and stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
And it's great for me because I like to know all the products that are out there. Can you take me back to what your background is?
Yeah.
Like, where did you start? What did you study? And then how did we get to recruitment scheduling?
So fair. So I suppose since I was very young, I've always been kind of obsessed with entrepreneurship. Dad had a niche waste business, and the last memory I have is just from my entire childhood with Dad is that he loved his work. First one in the morning, last one out at night. And I really think that rubbed off on me. So as a younger person, I'm like, I'm going to get into entrepreneurship. And then as a teenager, I started exploring entrepreneurship, started reading about marketing and started learning because I was like psychology and business so interesting. And started doing some YouTube. So I was like, let me start building a personal brand online because if I can't start a business, let me just start learning some skills. And then in Leaving Cert I started, which is end of secondary school in Ireland, I actually started a digitalization business. So we would work with local SMEs and do website and social media and everything.
Right. Okay.
Because I was like, this is back in 2018. Again, agencies weren't very popular in the kind of social media web space. It was so poor. The online stuff was so poor from these businesses. I was like, no. You can stand out in such a big way if you just kind of if we were able to work on your business. So I had 2 other co-founders. One did content, one did website. I was doing social media. And we were just like cold calling from the school landline, just trying to do that. So after like a few months, we got a little bit of traction in doing that. And again, it always came back to the idea of like sitting down with business owners being like, let me solve your problems. Let's work through this together, because especially back then, it was all so foreign. It was all such a foreign concept of like social media marketing agency or web agency, and why my website's 20 years old, it works. Why do I need to change it? So I did that for about 5.5 years, and we were able to scale that across the US and get to work with amazing brands. And my favorite part was always the initial piece, and that's probably what you enjoy doing as well, is sitting down with business owners going like, here's your problem, let's actually try and plug this with a solution that really works for you, which is so fun. What a fun process. I feel like recruiters understand that as well, because they start with a talent problem and then they're able to solve that. So
I always think recruiters should make good management consultants, because
100%.
They're so good at qualifying. Like the best recruiters you meet are so good at uncovering pain, and also like, you know, the helpful pyramid that they talk about.
Yeah.
They can do the root cause analysis piece, which I think is a superpower in itself.
Totally. And like I'm pals with a lot of entrepreneurs, and they'd have no idea. Like again, that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs wouldn't even be aware that recruiters can add that sort of value on top of all their other services. But so I did that for about 5.5 years, learned a tremendous amount, and I was like, this whole world of AI was coming through, and I was consuming it every week, and I said, I really want to pick a sector and really just double down and build a product.
Yeah.
So I exited that business about 2 years ago. I just kind of went off. I had no sector in mind. I was like, I definitely, communication issues is a big one for me. Like as we were scaling the business and we people across different time zones, I was like, this is a bit of a headache, but I didn't fully know where that landed. So I met a guy called Gareth Fleming, who's actually in the TRN. He's not here this weekend, but he's the first TRN member I ever met.
Really?
And
Based down Ireland.
Yes, yeah. So and he's an absolute gent. And we were having the chats, and I was like, I'd built a few products, and he started using them in his agency, and he's just giving me flashing green lights, and I was like, and he loved it. And of all the agencies I tried with a few other different sectors in marketing and whatever, and he was like, no, more, please, more, let's do more. And then I started meeting more recruiters, and they were like, hungry for new tech and hungry to like, I think I was very fortunate to meet recruiters who really want to be on the cutting edge and really try new tooling, which is very, very fortunate. So I was like, let me dig in here. And I looked at the market and I went, I think there's a really cool opportunity to try and win the comms layer, really win on the SMS, WhatsApp, email, and help these people remove all the pulling and dragging and admin and chasing they're doing. Because I felt like the ATS systems weren't fully focused on that sector because they had so much more they're focused on, and then the jobs board weren't as well. And I was like, I think there's a really cool opportunity for me to build really cool tech that's innovative in the sector. So that's kind of, it was a series of conversations and just windy road to end up here.
And you said you were like consuming AI every week. You were like trying to, because it was coming along, and I think like lots of people were like, I want to learn this, I want to nail this, or I want to know more about it. Yeah. Where were you going to for that? Where were you? Was it University of YouTube, or was it just like events? Yeah. How did you embed yourself into that AI world?
No, it's a great question. I actually get that question a lot from different business owners as well. University of YouTube. So I never went to college. So I actually started the business when I was in secondary school, and I was just self-taught. I just found mentors and books, and so I've always been a bit of a self-starter when it comes to education. Mm-hmm. Some of the podcasts I really enjoy listening to, one is called the All In podcast. So it's a couple investors. One of the guys was the initial VP of growth for Facebook back initially. So guys are in the Silicon Bay area really early. They've all done very well financially, and very senior guys now, and VCs or whatever. But they're always in the cutting edge because they're investing and they're getting the deals across the table that are on the most cutting edge. So that would be that, and then the kind of Prof G markers of Scott Galloway as well. So they'd be my two main touch points that I'd be listening to, because these guys are talking about the edge of like what's the issues of AI and the energy issues and how we're going to solve that on an economic level, because these guys are investing in data centers and whatever else. So and then and just genuine curiosity then, so going to, and the best one for me has been talking to other recruiters, and that's why I think something like this is so valuable on the peer-to-peer side, because I kind of went in going, okay, every time a recruiter names a new software, write it down, go research it. And and like at the start, it's a heavy amount of research. And then over time, you can kind of see the macro trends on what people are using and how they're feeling about things. And then there's obviously, you're saying scheduling for recruitment is niche, but then you break into recruitment, there's so many micro niches inside of that. And
they're all like their own industry in its own right sometimes.
Big time.
I mean, the recruitment technology landscape has gone crazy in the last 5-6 years, I would say. With the emergence of AI, and even prior to that, the post-COVID boom time that we had, agencies had money, people were making money, they saw tech as like the way to do it, and we had so many products come out in a short period of time. And actually, incumbent players in the market then started expanding their features and functionality. So it's a really, really interesting time for recruiters and founders to navigate the market, I think, because everything can do a bit of everything at the moment.
Of course.
But scheduling, that's super, 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 super niche. I want to talk a little bit about that, and I know we've got Ops Unbox going out alongside this, so if people would like to get eyes on it, they can get eyes on it. The folks that were going mad for it when you showed it to them in Ireland, the chap you mentioned, what was it that really, really got him excited about it? What did he actually look at? What was his thinking behind it?
Yeah, so there was kind of two different parts of his business where he got the most excited about it. And there's more that we've seen since, but for him in particular, so one was they do some medical staffing recruitment. And again, and the big thing we hear on this sort of product is like, are you trying to get recruiters off the phones? And I'm like, no, this is like the safety net fallback, is that if you can't get someone, is that we're the person chasing to try and get you back on the phone, so you're not spending the time doing that. So any sort of industry that you can't get people on the phone, we're really good, because we'll do the chasing 24/7. So that's been really where people have gone, oh my God, I didn't know this existed. I didn't even fully understand this is a problem I could solve with a solution. Because a lot of people are reluctant to use scheduling links, because it's from a candidate experience perspective, they actually elect just not to do that. Or when there's multiple people going to be on the call, it just doesn't, it falls apart. And then the other one that people have gone a little bananas for, and I was speaking to some really good recruiters here even at this event, is multi-time zone. So your team's in the UK and the client's in the US and they're hiring in Singapore or Australia. And just that whole level, because again, the current solution is either they try and hire a team in that locality that's working those hours, but you still have hours where that's not being coordinated and everything. So it's been funny, as I waded more into the waters, these are the kind of pain points we've seen. The people that go, oh my God, this is exactly what we needed. And the only alternative I thought I had was to actually go hire more people in those markets. And, you know, again, that's a huge overhead for an agency to go and try and take on.
I mean, hiring headcount for scheduling would be crazy, but it happens, right? We know internal recruitment teams for big businesses have huge coordinator functions. Okay, cool. So some people might hear what you said about we'll do that chasing for you and think, okay, so is it just a very elaborate sequencing tool? So like I set up a sequence and I pop people into the top of it and I go, is it that or is it more intuitive? And I'm assuming multi-channel, as you said earlier.
Yeah. So the way when I was like, whenever I was thinking about this product, I was like, okay, the best case scenario is if I could hand everyone an assistant to coordinate the schedule, what would that actually look like? So if I had an assistant, I was trying to book a meeting with you, I would CC my assistant of the chain. In our email chain, I would go, hey, look and try and book in with Sai, preferably Thursday or Monday or Tuesday at the conference. Can we try and find a slot that works for both of us? And it would go back and forth with you and go handle that. So with Mandy, which is what we've named this bot, that's exactly what it is. It's just CC'd in the chain, so there's no going to a new dashboard, there's no retraining. You write the email as normal. It's an email plugin on the side, so you can see all the candidates it's tracking, and it does all the back and forth. It definitely, like I suppose, from a sequencing standpoint, there's obviously some overlap with the likes of Sourcewell and everything where they can do some of the chasing and the mass stuff. But this is more very much specifically like we can handle the one-to-one, but where I think this really shines is that when you start getting into multi-time zone or you get into like later stage interview where there's the client availability, candidate availability, your availability, and everyone answers at different times. And there's no sequencing tool that I found anyways that handles that level of coordination. And then there's the other interesting piece when I was talking to Gordon about this, is the data layer. So there's no data around a lot of admin stuff, and you definitely see this when you're doing time and motion studies. There's no data around like how much time is going in, how long is this taking to people to book calls, how much rescheduling, how many cancellations are we getting? There's no data around that. And I think the agencies that are hungry for data, I really want to be a player that we're another enabler to show them the data of this. So we're giving agencies the likes of what's the average time of day when people are booking calls? How many reschedulings are you having? How many calls are your consultants able to book throughout the week? And because I really want to help them get really nitty gritty, because I think in the next wave of this, step one is improving your data so you know what you're looking at, because you have your gut, you understand the market, you've been there. Everyone here has been here at least 2 decades. You know, they understand the game in a big way. Giving them the data, I think, is just a compounding thing. So there's definitely an element of sequencing on what we're doing, but we're going to more and more add more functionality as we go along, and it's all going to be natured around just being the best scheduling tool for recruitment firms.
Nice. The folks in Ireland who, I'm just going to grab my water. The folks in Ireland who went bananas for it and were enjoying it and liked the product, how many of them were using it in the end?
So we actually had a few different twists and turns as we started this. So again, this was not. I didn't wake out of bed one morning and went, this is exactly how it's going to work. We spent months working with firms, and to be honest, some firms fell off because they were like, we can't be involved in 3 months of you trying to figure it out. And again, we're a small team, like we're 3 of us full time. So because we had started initially with a product that plugged into your email and it sent from your email. So it was able just to roll off of that. And we were like, this could be really innovative. It can really help. And there's maybe other stuff we can help recruiters on the email side. And the trust wasn't there. Like the idea, the bar for someone sending a message from your communication channel was so high that like, again, maybe at some point in the future that some products might go and do that. And there could be a route. But right now in this moment, the recruiters, they were like, yeah, let's go do that. And when push came to shove, they went,
I
don't feel good about that. I'm like, that's cool.
How funny.
Yeah, so that was our kind of first angle, and we spent a long period of time building that out. And again, naturally, when you're trying to build out product, people go, I have to run my business. I have to like focus on my stuff. I can't be thinking about your product all the time, and that's so fair. And there was never any begrudgment on that. So then we went, okay, well, let's flip this on its head, and let's have it that it's an assistant that sits a completely separate inbox. It's very clearly stated it's an AI scheduling bot, but everything, and let's just keep it as concise as possible, because I suppose, and again, like my girlfriend at the moment is going through the hiring process, so I understand, and I'm seeing it firsthand the emotional roller coaster that this is going.
She's a candidate.
Yeah, candidate. Yeah. So like seeing that from the candidate side, I'm like, okay, everything needs to be so perfectly concise, and some really great feedback I got from some of the teams was, keep these scheduling assistants messaging super brief, no extra fluff, no nothing, because this is a very emotional time for candidates, between transitioning between jobs. So make sure this is just to the point, handles it super concise. And this is where one of the great talks yesterday, they were talking about the moment between the moments. And I really liked that, because it was the way we're talking about it. The idea that you send a message at 9:30 at night when you're on the couch, you're looking for a new role, you're not enjoying your job, and then you get a response within 1 minute, and people will go, oh wow, okay, well when am I available? Okay, let me book in with this recruiter. And that's because they would not expect a response till the next day.
Exactly.
So we've had definitely agencies churn early days, because we were very much figuring it out. But the few that stuck with us, and we're very, very grateful for them, they've really helped mold this. And again, across a variety of sectors, from financial services, executive search, to medical, which is more kind of on the higher volume side, to executive search on the multi-time zone stuff as well. And what the really interesting thing is, I've waded into the waters, and I've spent the last year plus learning about recruitment, is there's a sweet spot in a lot of the different microcosms for this product, and it serves different purpose. And then that's been the real beauty of, because again, like I can come in and go, I'm going to do recruitment and real estate and tech guys and whatever, but you lose the beauty of being able to talk to one person and go, I really understand you. I'm focused on solving your problems. Because again, this idea that tech is not easy to build. Building tech that people want to use every day is really hard. And it adds a ton of value. So
and getting them and then reinforcing them on the usage of it as well.
100%
from the perspective.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you said about the just keep about the actual assistant. So Mandy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big trend towards people naming their AI at the moment, aren't there? So I quite like that actually. I think it is good. I think what you said, people don't mind interacting with AI. They just want to know it's AI.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone likes, AI trying to pull the wool over their eyes.
Totally.
And I actually think all that preamble stuff, reducing all of that. If I think about some of the PAs and EAs who I've dealt with in the past when I was a recruiter, or since I've been running embedded ops, they're not fluffy.
No.
I've never we used to do some recruitment for a large automotive business in Germany.
Yeah.
When we used to go over to see Yamanda, he was his EA was so just direct.
Yeah.
She'd get CC'd in and she'd send slots, and that's it, because that's her job. She needs to send slots. So I love that idea, and I like it being transparent. And this is my bot. I can think of so many use cases in my head. If I think of some of the agencies I'm working with here at TRN. So, did you meet David Weir and?
No, not yet.
And David Weir and Ant Lewis, they were all here, and you might see them actually later on today. Greg Hayes, Greg runs the search part of their business, public sector, and they have a research function. So the research function goes to market, makes a target list, they approach them all, but sometimes that target list is like 300 people.
Yeah,
I've seen it in their CRM, like on the stage, and actually, if I could ask Mandy to just say, hey, I need all these people to book in specifically for this type of call. Can we try and go and arrange it? Because I actually don't think candidates mind that. I think candidates don't mind that. I mean, it's no different to the candidate if you send an email or Mandy sends an email. Ultimately, if they're going to want to speak to me, Greg, whoever it is, recruiter, they're going to speak to them.
Yeah.
And then you got and then Mandy can come back in once they've all qualified 100%. And they're all submitted. Could you use Mandy in that way?
Yeah, 100%. So what we're going to be releasing very shortly is kind of not the mass, like the ability to be able to book a large volume of calls. So currently, where it's currently at is you CC it, I'm emailing you, sorted it. But the next thing we're building out is like, hey, I've shortlisted 6 candidates and the hiring manager is available for these, 8-hour block next week. Just book them in. And then the next stage after that is something like you're talking about, is just sourcing at scale, booking in 20-minute screening calls.
Yeah.
And it's able to blast through. And this is where our integration of the CRMs and why we're approaching the CRMs to actually plug in, because I want that functionality plugged in from there, because I want to go where the recruiters are. So 100%, that's definitely the next stage, because like the value add of us being able to do that is absolutely ginormous. Yeah. So 100%.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of the CRM providers are like open API now, so you can build away. And obviously, if there's anything you want to meet whilst we're here, I'll give you some introductions. But let's talk about that relationship with the wider tech stack or RecTech ecosystem and community. You've obviously had a couple of days here. You've met a load of the other partners as well as the agency members. Where do you see you guys fitting into that ecosystem? And are you expecting any at all pushback from CRM saying, no, sorry, we don't want your bot pushing data in here?
Yeah, so it's been really interesting. I've spoken to a lot of this. I've spoken to about 5 of the top 10 biggest ATS systems already about partner programs and stuff, and I've actually had no pushback to date. Like a lot of them will have like some level of scheduling functionality, i.e. they have a scheduling link inside the ATS system, which would be the extent of it. So I've actually had no pushback, and it's funny coming to this event because I don't really compete with anyone here. And it was when I was talking to Tyrene, the partnership manager, before joining TRN, I kind of sit in a very unique spot where I'm not really stepping on anyone's toes.
No.
And I actually am a complementary software. Like I'm more than happy to integrate across the board if it makes sense for the recruiters, because the recruiters go, can you plug into this? Can you plug into that? And I go, I'm more than happy to plug into anything as long as you tell me where this makes your life better. Because sometimes the idea of it plugging into everything is great, but I'm like, I very much boil it always back down to what way am I making your life better by doing this? And if so, done. Yeah, that's why WhatsApp has been one that we have on the roadmap. ATS systems plugging in, so if you're mass sourcing teams, big one we're getting demand for is they're doing a lot of sourcing, they're doing a lot of screening calls. So if that means that they live in the ATS system, cool, we're going to go do that. So no, it's been really good, and like talking with the partners and then talking with recruiters, with the other partners that they're even working with, it's been really interesting hearing. And I sit in a very unique spot in the space where no one really seems obsessed with what I'm doing. If anything, I'm complimentary.
Like I said at the beginning, niche. I know. Even we had a very, very brief phone call before the retreat, and I thought it was super interesting. I mean, the use case essentially of scheduling, right, is interesting, but actually the tech itself is probably the thing that's more interesting, because actually when you start using it and seeing that it can coordinate diaries, it can use natural language to speak to people on your behalf. So beyond, I mean, there's always scheduling that needs to happen, whether that's with, if it just was a scheduler full stop, you could schedule all your regular client account management meetings in there. You could have all your internal meetings organized, like even internal meetings organized. Do you know how annoying it is sometimes coordinating project meetings? At some of my clients where they've got multiple headcount, and I've got to try and get the CEO in, and the marketing man's got to come in, and it's so difficult. My brain's thinking about how I can use Mandy. How can I use Mandy to coordinate all my projects? She can be PMO support. For someone like myself, if I was going to use that technology, I'd be like, right, Mandy, you're just my PMO. Like I need to be on site with this agency next week. These are the people that are needed. Can you get them sorted out?
And that's where I want to get to. Like the roadmap wise, I want to get it as close to everyone having an assistant as possible. Because whenever I'm having a conversation with an agency owner, and again, like this concept of, because there's one of the talks yesterday, they're talking about this. They go, there's always been the lane of what people do and what software does, and I feel like that line is getting a little blurrier, because there's definitely some more tasks that software can take off people's hands to allow them to do what they do best. And what recruiters do best is build relationships, and they're on the phone, they're having coffees, they're building rapport, and again, after spending 2 days with these people, they're absolutely excellent at breaking the ice, building rapport quickly. Like it's what they're really, really excellent at. And I suppose for us, I was having lunch with a recruitment MD yesterday, and I go, do you think of, because he was using Calendly for some things, right? And I go, if I gave all your team members an assistant for just coordinating this stuff, do you think they'd be more efficient? He goes, of course they would be. I'm like, but this is what we built as version 1, and that's where we're going. And again, at a price point wise, we come in a way where I want it to be very approachable for agencies as well. So, so again, the whole thing is I want to make it as no-brainer as possible and be able to help them out.
How much is it at the moment?
So currently, our starting package is £8 per user per month.
Wow.
And
£8.
Yeah. So again, like if you're in London, but the cost of a coffee, you know,
pint of Guinness is more than £8 in London.
Yeah. so yeah, like again, like I suppose there's a lot of agencies in this space that a lot of people break off in their agency. They're trying to get going. I've been the business owner that is getting up off the ground. Your budget's tight, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear. Again, I've done it a couple of times in my life where I've done, even at my young age, I've done that. I want to help those people out. I think the solopreneurs, and again, we're working with the bigger teams as well, but the solopreneur, the 1, 2, 3 people, they're getting up off the ground, they've brought people in, they've taken the risk, they've taken the jump.
Yeah.
I want to be there for those people to go, I will try and help take this huge burden off your shoulders so you can go focus and do what you do best and go do the business development, go have your candidate pool and go make some placements and get the things off the ground.
For £8 per user per month, that is no-brainer pricing, really. I mean, I am going to sign up because I want to give it a go. But there's the folks over at Gig, Luke Pitkin. He's great. He's a good friend of mine. Runs a CRM which is free forever.
Oh wow!
For solos and founders, they have a paid version. But you can jump between paid and free whenever you like. So a lot of the solo community use it. And then if they're going on holiday for a couple of months, they'll just downgrade it, save a few quid, and come back and upgrade it again.
Cool.
So he's like in the same mindset as you know, like how do we help recruiters get off the ground?
Yeah.
I can't remember his numbers, but he's got a phenomenal amount of people on the freemium version.
Yeah. No, I'd say so. And again, like HubSpot had that model on the CRM side. It's like you can use HubSpot forever for free, you know. And I think that obviously they built a Goliath of a business, and I think it's a really, really good move. I think the idea, there's definitely, especially in this space, software providers that I feel like are anti-recruiter. And I think the way that they do business and the way they lock people up in contracts, and I'm a very pro business owner move because I feel like in the long term when you're building relationships and trying to build a brand, it's person to person. Like when you're sitting across looking for someone, they're begging you to try and break a contract. That is not a brand I'd ever want to be associated with. I don't think that's ever the right move ever. It's very short-term thinking. So I really like that as a business model where he gives them the ultimate flexibility. And again, we have more expensive packages if you want to go more to have Mandy renamed on your domain and it's all stored on your side. And there's all the sort of tiers, but I'm like, I want the entry door to be, we have 7-day free trial, no credit card, nothing, no contracts. And if you're getting value, great. If not, you go do your thing.
Yeah, amazing. And as someone that's obviously a tech founder, and now you've ingrained yourself into the recruitment industry, what do you think the landscape looks like technology-wise for recruiters in the coming years? We've had the whole, we went through this whole period of everything's going to get automated. We've now got this whole thing about everything's natural language and prompting and speaking. Where do you see, what's the direction that you see it going into?
I think we're in a real moment where everything's very exciting. There's MCPs, people are plugging into their ChatGPTs and their Claudes, and everything's really cool and I want to talk to it. I think this will boil back down to simplicity, what works well in your workflow and what actually makes sense day to day. And I think the founders I'm talking to that I think are the most locked in as they go, Daragh, that's all well and good, or I love this tool, but tell me where's the business impacting when I feel it's the most? Because there's one thing to love the idea and the sound of something, and there's another thing then to actually have it that this thing actually returns value. It frees up time for my team. It increases BD. It does whatever. So I think we're going to push the fringes where everyone wants to talk in natural language to everything. And then let's say even for like I was talking to one of the ATS systems yesterday, and they were like, everyone wants to use their Claude MCP, and I go, But that will revert back to just good dashboards, because they all they want is information. And if as a software provider, if you just give people a dashboard and go, here's what you want to see, they don't need to use cloud tokens or whatever to do that. And it's almost like it's actually more work to do that. So I think there'll be an equilibrium where we come back down, we go, some tools will stick that really add value, a lot will fall away. And I think like where I would love to see recruitment go, and where I think it is going, is if it's not relationship, rapport building, insights, using their skill set of actually being peer-to-peer with their candidate or client, I would like all that to be stripped away. All the admin, all of that, whether that is the ATS systems doing a lot of that, whether it's some micro tools plus ATS systems, whether that be new jobs were coming to the market. I think end of story is these people are really, really good rapport builders. And I think if they can just do as much of that as possible and everything else gets taken away, I think that's a successful evolution of the market.
Yeah, nice. One of my co-founders for RecExperts is a guy called Kalpesh Baxi, who's got a agent building platform.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. They've gone fairly recruitment specific. They've got like ready to run agents that are recruitment specific. Class. And I was saying to one of the IT support guys that was here, Tech to Rec guys, I was saying, I think between Critmatter and Claude, I think I could build an entire workflow that had no human interaction. So like trigger would be advert, and then we see the advert, then we do the outreach and then book the meeting, and all I ever have to do is join the meeting with the client only once they've done it. And I was like, if we just set that up just in the background, and I was going to test it with my local area. I mean, I don't do recruitment anymore, but I was thinking about just setting it up in my local area of Egham and just seeing what happens. And if I can book a client meeting about a job that they're joining with the view to giving it to me to work on, and if I can source candidates and generate calls with candidates that match that role, I don't know. That's it. That's what we're not far from that world.
And I think that'd be a really cool thing to document, even for the socials. Is actually document you actually doing that, because I think there definitely is a part of the market. Like I was talking to a founder there yesterday, and they were like Claude agents using Claude code to whip up dashboards and everything. I'm like, there's definitely a hunger there. I definitely think you should 100% document that journey. And if it works, great. That's great learning. If it doesn't work, and they get to watch you do it, and maybe they can try and evolve on top of that, I think that's a net positive of an activity to do.
And do you know what? I'm hoping what it's going to do is shine a light on actually the value that the recruiter, or highlight where the value is of the recruiter being in the loop. I mean, everyone uses the term human in the loop, right? Recruiters are not going anywhere in our industry. But I agree with you that we should be freeing them up now for even more time to be productive. I think this should be the most productive every recruiter has ever been.
Totally agree.
There was a guy on LinkedIn, actually, he's an advisor now, and he actually made a really good point. He said the average biller figures have not changed in 20 years. 120 grand billing was just average, and that's not changed in 20 years, but the price of a Mars bar is up however many 100%. So I think people are going to become a bit more acutely aware of that. And I think we're seeing it in the larger businesses, like the Hayes, the Michael Pages, when they all posted their losses. Everyone was like, well, how is that? Why is that? I mean, they carry the largest chunk of the average recruiters in the market in reality. Not being disparaging of them, but there'll be a lot of average Joe recruiters that sit in that organization. And if you're not going to be productive, I don't think you're going to last in this industry, not for the next couple of years anyway.
No, I think so. And I think anyone who wants to be a super biller, who wants to get after it and wants to be tool first, I think this is like the best time to be like there really is the ability, because there's this whole talk of AI and where will AI come in, and the way I heard it broke down the best is it's always been humans with tools, and now it's just humans with better tools. Until it's human versus robot, that's something we haven't seen before. We are not in this sector anyways, and we need to readdress that at that point. But again, we're just talking about having better tools. So it's a case of, I really think this is a moment where you can bill 5x more than the person in the desk right beside you. And that is a real reality if you're using the tools correctly, and you're able to nurture the candidate. You take the extra time to nurture the clients, nurture great candidates, have them, the moment between the moments, be able to take the person you placed out to lunch, because at some point they could be a client for you, and you can help them enable the next generation of people coming into that business. So I think whenever someone asks me, they go, if you're freeing up this time for recruiters, like
What
what
are
will
they
they
gonna
do?
do?
I'm like, it doesn't actually matter, but like if they get an extra lunch a week and they're able to go do that with the spare time, or spend time with their family and re-energize or whatever. But I think if they're able to just spend more time investing in relationships, I think they can just massively separate themselves from the rest of the market, whether it's their own firm or whether they want to be a top biller in the firm they're in.
Yeah, I agree. The emergence of technology and everyone kind of getting a bit more clued up on it.
Yeah.
We're seeing a definite spike in solos and people going independent.
Yeah.
I think. Do you think that's a good thing for our market or a bad thing?
I'm very pro entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you even are 1% like, I'm going to go do this, whether it be a buyout, because I know in the space that, buying your successors' firms, so buying them out as they're looking to retire, or spinning off yourself, I think it's only good. I think competition in the marketplace keeps everyone on their toes. I think there's an executive search guy I know in the US, and he bills nearly 7 figures a year just by himself, and because he has systemized everything. He's built his own CRM, all custom integrations, scraping tools. Guy's in his late 50s. It's one of the most incredible setups I've ever seen in my entire life. And no wonder he's able to do so much billing, but he's just picked a lane, did 25 years of it, and he's billing more than a team of, 6 billers, so I like the idea of it. But again, in business, and this is the big thing, is that like you can do that for a few years and go, I actually don't want to do this anymore, and go back, and you can actually be more competitive when you're kind of looking for a role as a baseline salary. You can go in with all your contact book and actually negotiate higher rates with the agency. So I only think doing something like that's a net positive for the industry. And again, anyone that falls back into the fold of a larger firm or even a smaller firm, they only add so much more value, makes them so much more employable. So I never see a loss in ever taking that punt.
Nice. You've been wonderful. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, man.
For coming on. We've got about 6-7 hours of conferencing to do.
Yeah.
And I need a coffee.
Yeah.
But we will get Ops Unboxed recorded, and if you're listening to this right now, Ops Unboxed will be available. I'll pop the card up on the YouTube channel so you can have a look. I'm looking forward to having a proper look around it and poke around it. So head on over to Ops Unboxed and check out Mandy.
Thank you so much for your time.
Cool. Thank you.